Well, hi, and welcome to Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. A 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 9, a 6.
Back by popular demand from Mark and Col, it's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome, everyone, everywhere, and no one else. Thanks, Governor. This is the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col, and you're very welcome to it.
Oh, thank you, mate.
So, as promised, and despite all the petitions, we came back to present yet another cantankerous episode of the Beatleplaces Podcast, presented by your local guides and podcast host, Mark.
And Col.
That's right. And the Beatleplaces Podcast is your regular slice of Beatles miscellany, celebrating the world's greatest band and all things Liverpool.
Smashing. Jolly good. Have we got the kettle on ready?
Yes.
Chocolate biscuits all lined up?
They're in.
Excellent,
Yes, they're all
right.
here, as you can see.
I'm ready now. Off we go then, you darn toot and Col. Here we go. Flex me muscles. Right. Another delightful delivery of Beatleplaces chitty chat, and as usual in each podcast, we'll enjoy an appreciation talking about the many places and people the Beatles knew here in Liverpool in their formative years and the stories behind them, which we call Beatleplaces.
That's right.
It's a fascinating history, and it's our pleasure to tell it.
I believe so.
Beatleplaces is about the band and John, Paul, George, Ringo themselves, where they lived, loved, lost, played, dreamed, and lots of other things as well. It's also the name of Col's excellent book. Available in all good online retailers.
Thank you.
There's another penny for you, mate.
Hey, the royalties are racking up, aren't they?
Wow. Here we go out tonight.
So, like every good book, let's begin at the beginning and enjoy today's episode of the Beatleplaces Podcast live from Liverpool.
Hooray. After all, this is where it all began, and a splendid time is guaranteed for all.
Do you know what? He's not wrong often. I'm Colin Gardner, and him over there in the loud pyjamas is Mark Glenister. Hello there, mate.
That's me, yes. Hello yourself, and Beatleplaces, not Beatleplaces, and Beatle fans outside of Col's front parlour.
Yes,
I'm Mark. Hello, listeners. We come in peace. It's nice to be here, but it's also nice to win on the lottery, which I'm still waiting for. Welcome, one and all, to the Beatleplaces Podcast.
And he's not wrong. And in this episode, which we've subtitled, Are You 13 Amp? We'll have regular features such as the Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz, one of Mark's specialities. Let's say how good you are with the Quizmeister himself. We've also got the Beatleplaces Album Guide to the Fab Four, a mix of quotes and mini features about one of their particularly great albums. And also, one of Mark's features resurrects its head again, and we're going to look at the month in Beatles history. This month in Beatles history, followed by the Beatles Book review, looking at one or two of those worthwhile reads that you should pick up about the Beatles and stuff like that.
Definitely. Go on, then. Is that it?
Yeah, well, it's your turn to say something now.
Is it?
So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, yes. All right, then. And, of course, we'll have a special feature or two this time. The story behind the Yellow Submarine movie.
Yeah.
Paul's moped mystery. The myths and the made-up bits. Then we'll have the random mutterings of Chairman Col. You got your hat on for that as well?
yeah, my big fuzzy one, yeah.
Jolly good. Quoting fascinating pieces from his book that I'll ask him, I'll pick for him to read out. So
Literally randomly.
I'll say, open the book at page blah, 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 and see what comes up.
Yeah.
So, here we go.
And of course, don't forget, folks, we'll be chucking in the odd random comments as well. And also, you might wonder what that subtitle's all about. We'll explain what Are You 13 Amp means later. So, on with the motley. First off, it's the Beatles Trivia Quiz with Mark. This is the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Please keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times.
Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is you're listening. Right. Beatles Trivia Quiz. Here's question number 1. Now, the questions, I'll read them all out first, 3 of them, and I'll be coming up with the answers a bit later on, So have your pens and papers ready, because here we go. Right. July the 7th, 1964. Can you remember that far back? I just about
Just
can.
about, yeah.
Paul bought a house for his dad's 62nd birthday, for £1,200, which is not bad, really.
Well, I've got loose change about that much now, so yes.
I wish I had. What's the name of the house that he bought for his dad? Okay, so that's question number 1. And also, question number 2, who took the photo of the Beatles crossing the zebra crossing on Abbey Road on the album cover? Anybody name that a photographer? And also, question number 3, what was the date of the last performance the Beatles did at the Cavern? What date was it? Anybody know that? So, quick whiz through them again.
Please.
July the 7th, 1964, Paul bought a horse for his dad's 67th...
Oh,
Getting it wrong.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you said house.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, very sorry.
Yeah,
It's a horse.
A house doesn't look like a horse, does it?
Well, I don't know.
From the back, maybe.
Yeah, sorry. I do apologise for that. He bought a horse.
Yeah, and you should buy some glasses.
Yes. Where are you?
I'm over here.
Right. Yeah. Paul bought a horse for his dad's 62nd birthday for £1,200. What was the name of the horse? Not the house.
I thought the house was cheap.
The horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I did write down horse. I just I thought that says house, but there you go. Question number 2: who took the photo of the Beatles on the Abbey Road album cover? And question 3: what was the date of the last performance the Beatles played at the Cavern in Liverpool? Okay, so that's it. Righto. See who can get them.
The Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Find us under B for Beatles, or P for Podcast, or A for any old rubbish.
Now it's over to Col for our next feature.
Right, you'll like this. I've just thought this one up the other day, and I thought we must have it because it's a bit random, and we could get on with some features in just a tick, because we're going to have regular features. That's it. But this might be a regular feature in times to come. Let's see what you think. Let's go. Where am I? Cue strange music. There's no strange music. I haven't got
I can't hear a thing.
Yeah, and my harpsichord's in the other house. Or horse. Right. I'm not sure where. Okay, what I'm going to do is, for Mark's sake, I'm going to pluck from my book and I'm going to read out a location. And Mark will have to explain where that location is to the best of his knowledge, if he knows anything about Beatleplaces. And I might even say who's involved. So these might be clues. So the name might be mentioned, the place description might be given, but I won't tell you where it is, and Mark will have to tell me where he thinks it is. So let's just get something found.
Right, I'm ready for this
Yeah,
now.
okay. If you kind of understand the ground rules, there's not much to it.
Don't build your hopes up too much.
Literally, we're flying by the seat of our lederhosen tonight.
This is new to me. This is new to me.
Yeah, so I'm literally finding something that will sort of fall into his lap. He will not struggle with this one.
Yeah, we'll see about
but
that.
We'll see about that. So let's crack on with... no, I can't mention that's on tonight's show. Okay. All right. Who am I talking about? They lived at, in the last part of their life, at 64 Edleston Road in Crewe in Cheshire. 64 Edleston Road in Crewe in Cheshire. They were born in 1914 and they married somebody called Elsie Gleaves in 1934. And they had a child. And that child was called Richard. But he moved away to Crewe when he separated from Elsie in 1954. And he went off and he married a lady called Margaret Clark. He had no contact with the family and apparently became a window cleaner or some such. He died in 1981 and he's buried in a place called Middlewich Cemetery. I can give you the name of the cemetery plot, but who is he? who is the person I'm talking about? A fella born in 1914, married Elsie Gleaves in 1934. They had a son called Richard in 1940, and yet he left the household in 1943, and he left his child behind in 1943. He went off to marry a lady called Margaret Clark. He had no further contact with the family, and he stayed in Crewe in Cheshire for the rest of his life. Who am I talking about? Any more clues you want?
You've got me there, I think.
Oh, have I really?
You have, yes.
Oh, I didn't realise. Okay, well...
What was the name of the woman he married again?
Elsie Gleaves.
Gleaves.
So she became a different surname when she married this fella. Shall I tell you his first name is Richard?
That's Richard Starkey.
Richard Starkey is the man, yeah. Richard Henry Parkin Starkey. Ringo's dad.
Right.
So he was a confectioner, cake maker. He worked at Cooper's in town, which we know as the corn shop opposite McDonald's in town. And he just left the household in 1943. Quit, gone, left, no good, never came back. Stayed in Crewe, saw his son become super famous, never did anything about it. And he died in 1980s. That's a fellow called Richard Henry Parkin Starkey.
So that was Ringo's dad.
Ringo's dad. Where am I? There I am, in Crewe.
Well, how interesting.
Just thought I'd try. Maybe that might not come back, I don't know.
We'll wait and see.
We gave it a go. I gave it a go. So, never mind. So we'll do the proper feature now, which I think Mark has rightly announced. And I interrupted. I'm sorry about that. And we're going to look at...
Should I do it again?
Yeah, go ahead.
All
go
right.
ahead. I'll have a slurp of tea.
Right. What we're going to do now, it's our next feature, the Beatleplaces Album Guide. So we pick an album each time we do this programme. And this one, we're doing A Hard Day's Night.
We are.
Over to you, Col.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks, Mark. It's all in the sequence of the albums we've covered so far. So this is the fourth album, and the third album. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they all flew by. But it was recorded in February of 1964 and up until June of 1964, and it was released in July of 1964. And of course, it got to number one, and it was called A Hard Day's Night in conjunction with the movie they made. So the tracks on that third album, if you want to be familiar with them all over again, side one, A Hard Day's Night, I Should Have Known Better If I Fell, I'm Happy Just to Dance With You, and I Love Her, Tell Me Why, Can't Buy Me Love. Flip over the album, side two, Anytime At All, I'll Cry Instead, Things We Said Today, When I Get Home, You Can't Do That, and I'll Be Back. So the longest track on that album was I Should Have Known Better, which is 2:48. And the shortest track is you'll notice it's short, it's very short. So 1:47, I'll Cry Instead. Do you remember any of them, Mark?
I do, yeah.
So
I never really timed I'll Cry Instead, or only 1:47.
Yeah, it's hardly got going.
It could have got going a bit longer, couldn't it, really?
It needed a verse. I could have helped. So I can picture most of the songs being performed in the movie, but I don't remember them all being in the movie. So I think some of them were what you may call instrumental versions of themselves. If the movie can be recalled, you can remember Ringo walking along the canal side, and they played a few tracks like This Boy and stuff like that.
He was very drunk that day, I believe.
Yes,
he was, apparently.
Well, the band was so busy. I'm not surprised that they managed to do all originals for this particular album. Really quite a feat. No covers, all originals. So the famous story leading to the title of the film probably doesn't need retelling, but I'll give it a go. Hey ho. Ringo apparently used it in an expression, one of his malapropisms. And the band loved these things, he said. And there was a light bulb moment for John when he heard Ringo say he'd had a hard day's night. So John, that night, wrote the song, and that's what we've got. So don't forget that song that we're talking about had a very famous introductory chord. And I know I like me guitars and stuff like that, so I'm familiar with chords and musical notation, but I can never play that chord. I don't know how it's played, because the chord that belongs to the Hard Day's Night song is famous all on its own, even if Paul says he can't remember how to play it. But to me, it sounds like a chord F over a chord G at the same time. But guitar aficionados out there may come back and say, oh, no, it's a F suspended diminished eggs over easy, Bob's your uncle chord, kind of a fancy
Sounds to me like chung. really, doesn't it? When you chung,
yeah.
and off they
Yeah,
go.
yeah, right, that's it, lads. But yeah, Mark's right. It's a chung song. A bloody good one, though. On the day recording was over, the band returned to the studio to rehearse with stand-in drummer Jimmy Nicol, as 2 days before the end, Ringo collapsed in a photo session. And there was a tour of the Far East up and coming, and the band's commitment to perform meant that Jimmy Nicol had to fill in. And he did fill in for a few weeks, I remember that. So just like with the Beatles' second album, they used Robert Freeman to photograph and do the portrait montage that's been copied so much ever since. So that's a memorable album cover to speak of. To me, I think it's a really, it's a really nifty album, really tunes galore in it. The fact it was so good is just a miracle all on its own, considering the pressure the band were under and what they had to commit to in terms of performing everywhere else. But it just complemented the film anyway, and thanks to the good editing and the style of Dick Lester, who could do that sort of editorial, sort of quick and dirty sort of film style that the Beatles liked anyway, because they'd seen his early stuff with Peter Sellers and liked it. I think it was a winner all told. So
he was criticised for filming into the light, wasn't he? With
was he
into spotlights and stuff like that, and into the light because you couldn't see properly.
Yeah.
And he filmed into the lights.
Stylistically,
so
it worked though, didn't it?
A lot of people do now.
Yeah. I think a lot of videos that came to the fore in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Just copied the thing to death.
Yeah.
They copied bits of it anyways, especially the sort of quick edits and things that worked for the band. But it was a funny movie. Pity it was black and white, but I think it needed black and white. I can't explain that in another way, but it was as good as it could be, and it was black and white. Tremendous.
I can remember queuing up to see the film as well when it came out. Yeah, I can remember standing in a queue. Where it was, I can't remember, but I remember queuing up to go and see it. Probably Liverpool.
Yeah. It was just a good old album, really. But the favourite track on that, I think, Can't Do That. I think because I like it because I can play it on my ukulele, and the film was pretty great too. So more on that because we're going to cover the whole Hard Day's Night premiere. We were talking about this just earlier. We're going to cover the A Hard Day's Night premiere in Liverpool as a whole show. Nothing but all about A Hard Day's Night. When it began, who decided there should be a premiere in Liverpool, the whole shebang. We'll cover that next time. So there we go, that's it. The Beatles' third album, what an achievement. A Hard Day's Night, 1964, God bless them. So now it's back to Advanced Knee Trembling with Mark Linnister, and this month in Beatle history.
Right, well, I'm just diving into the book completely...
You stood on a box, I noticed.
Yeah, completely not rehearsed this bit at all or anything like that. So I sort of opened the book at any page and just let you know what's going on. And funnily enough, July the 6th, 1964.
Oh, well.
All right, is that okay?
Yeah,
all right,
I don't care if it overlaps, as long as it says something interesting.
Was the premiere of A Hard Day's Night. Piccadilly Circus was closed for traffic as Princess Margaret, Lord Snowdon, the Beatles, their wives and girlfriends attended the world premiere of the film at the London Palladium. It was.
In London it was, yeah.
Yeah, in the London Pavilion, not the Palladium, the London Pavilion. And also on that day, on July the 6th, the single Like Dreamers Do by the Applejacks, which was written by Lennon and McCartney, was released in the US, and also the single called Ain't She Sweet, backed with Nobody's Child by the Beatles on the A side and Tony Sheridan and the Beatles on the B side, was also released in the US.
Well, you could see there was a sort of opportunity there to get rid of all the back catalogue, good or bad.
Yeah,
and
write something. We'll get it out.
I wouldn't say the Applejacks made a bad version of it, but it was just a mediocre song. But
I can't remember that one, to be honest.
I won't sing it to you because I haven't run a bath.
Right. Well, I'll go and do one now then. Right, and the next little bit, July the 29th, 1965, was another premiere in Piccadilly Circus outside the London Pavilion again for the royal premiere of Help.
As quick as that.
The Beatles arrived in a black Rolls-Royce with Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon, and with Jane Asher as well this time. And she wore a pure white Edwardian-style evening dress. And there was a party afterwards at the Orchid Room of the Dorchester Hotel.
Oh, how
I
quaint.
think they had crumpets and a couple of biscuits and a cup of tea.
And Kunzel cake.
Yes, very nice. And John Lennon said the best stuff on Help was on the cutting room floor, with us breaking up and falling all over the place. And Paul said filming Help stretched us a bit, giving us a bit more than one line at a time to say. But it wasn't really what the Beatles wanted, or Richard Lester wanted, the director, because it lost his way a little bit on Help. But John Lennon said about Richard Lester, he forgot about who and what we were, and that's why the film didn't work. It was like having clowns in a movie about frogs.
Well, it's a bit out there as a statement, but was it enjoyable? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Was it musical? Yes, it was. Did we like it? Yes, we did.
It was all right.
Yeah, leave us alone. Go away.
Right.
Help was great, yeah.
Aye. Right, are you going to redo your book review now?
Well, if you've covered this month in Beatle history...
Well, I've done two years, 64 and 65. I can do another one if you like.
Go on, knock out one more.
I'll dig in the book. I'm looking through a book called The Beatles Diary,
Give us an early one,
so,
just to give an indication. And there they are.
We go back?
There they are celebrating, their greatness at the peak of their powers.
So we go to 1963, shall I?
Yeah.
And July, I don't know, July the 10th, 1963. They were travelling all over the place. They were at the Aeolian Hall in London to record 2 more Pop Go the Beatles shows. For the 6th programme, they did Sweet Little 16, A Taste of Honey, Nothing Shaking But the Leaves on the Trees, and quite a few others as well. And then also they did the 7th programme at the same time as well. They recorded Memphis, Tennessee, Do You Want to Know a Secret? Matchbox, Please Mr. Postman. They had the Searchers as their guests. And then they drove back to Margate in time for the first house at the Winter Gardens.
Kind of a quiet night,
Another quiet day for the Beatles, yeah. Record 2 programmes and then clear off to Margate.
Blimey.
And they were there for, on July the 11th as well, and July the 12th, and the 13th, and then left Margate on the 13th of July and headed up to Blackpool then for another show.
Well, it's that stamina they got from playing Hamburg so much. I mean, they could do 8 hours, 9 hours playing original songs, one after the other, no repeats.
They were probably all over the place then, because I didn't know what day it was, because on July the 15th, 1963, Paul was fined £17 at Birkenhead Magistrates Court for speeding.
Yes.
In Wallasey.
Yes, I've seen the records for that.
And he didn't turn up.
That's right, and it leads to a huge story, which I may as well mention while we're here, because you're there and I'm here.
Aye.
He had 3 driving offences in Birkenhead and Wallasey, and I may have told you about this before. But he got caught speeding. He was going to one gig, got caught speeding, went to another gig, got caught speeding, and lo and behold, 3 strikes and you're out. He got banned from driving. So just seeing how lucky Paul is with things as they followed, he was banned from driving. He had a chauffeur drive him everywhere after that for a year because he was banned. And the chauffeur was talking to him one day in the car, and when Paul said, "How's your day been?" he says, "Oh, so busy. I've been working 8 days a week."
Yeah.
Ka-ching!
There we go again.
One song in the pan. So he did all right out of being banned from driving, but when he did come back to driving, he bought himself a brand new Aston Martin. And you can't complain about that, can you?
No.
I often think I should do that, but I'll get round to it.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks very much for covering this month in Beatle history. He's very good at that, isn't he? Yes,
Right.
I think so too.
Your turn now.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the Beatles book review, and I'm covering one book in particular. It's an unusual, it's a bit of a sort of niche book for Beatles fans. It's the Beatles Gear by a fellow called Andy Babiuk, and I stumbled across this book a little while ago, and it's for people who are musos, just love the equipment they used, what machinery they used, how they got the sounds they got, how they turned it into music, what things they've still got, what they're worth. And I've loved it because I like to know, how many frets are on a certain guitar, how cheap was the first guitar they got. It's quite surprising how they got through Hamburg with the tattiest guitars you've ever heard, and yet they survived. If I look at the book in historical order, we start even at the beginning when we're talking about, and I'm flicking through the book as we speak, we're talking about the beginnings of loving music. And John Lennon's auntie Mimi got him a guitar called a Galatone, and she got it mail order. And later on, they got a proper one from Hessie's, the music store in Liverpool town. There's a picture of it here, or there's a version of one in front of me, and as it would have looked, it says here. And it just looks like a sort of a kid's toy of a guitar, really. But yeah, skiffle phrase took over. Everybody wanted a guitar, and he got one. He really got one. And the famous quote was that he'd only been so used to playing banjos. His mother had a banjo, and his grandfather George had a banjo.
His mum taught him, didn't
And his mother taught him banjo. It's only got 5 strings, so he'd only tuned 5 strings on his 6-string guitar, and people used to laugh at him because they saw the 6th string flapping away like Billy-O. So it just goes and goes and goes. There's even a feature, because people will certainly hold on to these things as important music memorabilia. We've got Stu Sutcliffe's guitar in the 1960 phase. Stu Sutcliffe was never a musician to speak of, but he got involved. He was in the Beatles, no question about that, but he was an artist first and foremost. And his own bass guitar, which he got with some of the proceeds from his art prize in Liverpool, is featured here and mentioned here. The actual one is photographed here, and it looks okay. It's a Hofner. It's a Hofner 333, and it's just a lovely little bass guitar. It was sold at auction, but I could not tell you how much it got sold for. But Andy Babiuk is great because he's managed to get hold of things like receipts, hire purchase agreements, you name it. The facts were that nobody really owned the musical equipment they were buying when they were very young. They got them on what they call the knock, or the HP, hire purchase. And sometimes they did it through devious means. There was a guarantor required for most of the musical instruments that the band bought, George especially. And because they were starting to mingle with the art crowd that John knew, they got a friend of his who was called Adrian. And Adrian signed as a guarantor for the musical instruments, hire purchase agreements. The poor fella, if only he'd known, if they never kept up the payments, he would end up paying for the rest of it. He may have known better, but that's another story about another chap. But the whole book historically covers all the guitars, especially a little story about John's Rickenbacker, which he got when he bought in Hamburg. In the early second time they did a residency out there, and John got a lovely guitar called a Rickenbacker Capri 323, I think it was, or 363, lovely looking thing. But he played it so much he wore out the finish on the guitar. It needed sprucing up. So when Brian Epstein took over, he managed to get the guitar into the hands of somebody. He said, I'll repaint that for you. And he was a coach builder, a guy who paints buses. And
something like that.
And the guitar was lent by John Lennon to this friend of his, whose dad ran a haulage company in Birkenhead. And he said, can this be resprayed? And it was sprayed black. But it was black, the black you'd have on a bus. Or a van or something like that, and the fellow who sprayed it was mentioned by Andy Babiuk in the book as well. And he's found so much about the instrumentations and the amps, all the variations of Paul's bass guitars. His first Hofner bass was stolen, unfortunately, so he relied on his second, and he's had many more since then, I'm certain of that. And we're talking about every kind of instrument to speak of, right up until something like the mellotron that was used and the early synthesizers George brought back from America around the time he was producing Jackie Lomax's record and playing around with Abbey Road. So the whole book is only about the instruments, but it mingles in the history of the band. It's called Beatles Gear. It's lovely. It's a great book, worth a read, especially if you love your musical instruments. And I couldn't tell you who produced it because I've lost the cover years back.
Ah.
Published by, you got me there. It's on, excuse me, gathering my breath. It's published by Backbeat Books. Ah. And just to say it's worth reading is Mark Lewison, the god of Beatles history. He has put a forward in it, and he knows how good this book is because he knows this stuff. And it's great. Beatles Gear, Andy Babiuk. Thank you.
Super. Excellent. Right then.
Glad you approve.
I do. And the book I'm going to review is published by HarperCollins. It came out in 2010.
I see you keep you keep the covers on yours. I lose
do.
mine in about a fortnight.
Yours float away down in the bath. I've noticed. This was published in 2010, written by Howard Souness, and it's called Fab, An Intimate Life of Paul McCartney. And it starts off, very when he was born, really. You can't get any earlier than that. And it's quite a thick book. We've got about 600 pages, and there's some nice photographs in it as well. Some older ones with... in colour with Yoko, and
he's up to date with his wives, I see,
and Heather, and the Queen as well. He's got the Queen in there, posing very nicely.
He never married her, did he?
No.
Oh.
There's some nice pictures with his daughters as well, and a rather startling T-shirt I've just noticed.
Yes.
And some pictures of when they came to Liverpool as well, with Wings in 1979. Some nice pictures there, but. He's really dug away at all the little bits that Sir Paul, as we should say he is now, has done, and he's done a very good write-up on it, and also the songs he wrote as well. The book cost, back in 2010 it cost £20. I can't remember if I paid that much for it or not. I can't remember now, it's quite a while ago. But that's one I can recommend. It's called Fab, An Intimate Life of Paul McCartney, written by Howard Souness. If you can get it, go out and get it now. So there you go, really. Well, I can't go into it too much because I'll be here all night, because it's quite a thick book, as I say.
That's the thing. If it's a good Beatles book, a good biog, it grips you. Some of the others are so sort of flawed with mistakes and glossy stuff that doesn't count. That you could say, maybe next time we could cover one or two books which aren't so great, and we'll tell you why. So we may do that next time around.
Aye.
So thanks, Mark. That was a good review.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there we are. We're done. We've covered the Beatles book review, and we'll do another one on the next podcast. It's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. We haven't planned the show, so nothing can go wrong.
Right, here we are, and we're going to repeat in the quiz questions first.
Oh, please, yeah.
And then I'll give you the answers, maybe.
I'll do me feature after that, matey.
Oh, all right then. Well, yeah, answers later on. So we'll just do the questions again that I did earlier on.
Yeah.
July the 7th, 1964. Okay. Paul bought a horse for his dad's 62nd birthday.
Not a house.
Not a house, a horse. He paid £1,200 for it. I would like to know what was the name of the horse that he bought his dad. And the next question, who took the photo of the Beatles walking across the zebra crossing on the cover of Abbey Road? I'd like to know that photographer's name, please. And finally, What was the date of the last performance the Beatles played at the Cavern? I would like to know that as well.
Good sweep of questions there.
Answers coming up a bit later on, but now it's back to him over there.
Oh, thanks very much. You'll get to know me by and large.
Especially large.
Yes, feature time. We're going to cover the Yellow Submarine movie. We've talked about movies already a little bit already today. Help, Hard Day's Night. The Beatles were committed to a third movie, and we're going to talk about A Yellow Submarine, mostly about the voiceover actors, who certainly get no mention at all, as far as I can tell from most books. But let's cover the ground, and I won't keep you long.
Giving unemployed, good-looking, tall, handsome, well-groomed voiceover artists a bit of part-time work. It's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next. So the movie was The Yellow Submarine, or Yellow Submarine, made in 1968, or came out in 1968. The Beatles had already made 2 movies up to 1967, and contractually they had to deliver another one, and this they did, kind of. The result was the 1968 animated classic Yellow Submarine. It was directed by Canadian George Dunning, who'd overseen all the sort of TV cartoon versions of the Beatles that were made by a company called TVC in London, and I think somebody in Australia was involved as well. They're all out there if you can find them on the internet. The movie itself, however, was quite artistic and more imaginative and creative than anyone could have expected, really, including the band, because they didn't kind of get very involved in it, all told. It was clever, it was psychedelic, it was funny, it was scary. As a kid, I could tell it was scary. I don't know about you, Mark. But certainly, instant classic is the word I would use, and especially for kids and grown-ups. And the soundtrack wasn't half bad, really, considering the tracks they plucked out. Admittedly, the bands weren't very proactive in making the movie. They offered a few songs up, but not they'd admit would be their good stuff. So the movie followed like cartoon versions of themselves, so the Beatles really didn't even have to act in it, and only appearing in the last 2 minutes at the end as a coda in a sort of a cheeky send-off, which I think they enjoyed by the looks of it. They were far too busy as musicians to do it themselves in terms of voiceovers and stuff. So that was left to some just actors who could mimic their accents quite faithfully, and luckily, it happens, they were all Scousers. There was a fella called Paul Angelis, there was a fella called Peter Batten, and a fella called Geoffrey Hughes. Now, the last fella, the first and the last fella are quite well known in British TV. They have done other things since then. Luckily, the director hired 3 Liverpudlians to do those jobs, so the accents came through. They also hired a famous comedy actor called Dick Emery, and another famous comedy actor who me and Mark like called Lance Percival, and another guy called John Clive, just to help with all the other voices like the captain, and I can't think of what the other ones were, but Dick Emery was Jeremy, wasn't he? So he was the little man who Ringo helped. Wow. But to be honest, the script was helped along by a decent dose of Scouse humour from another Scouser called Roger McGuff, and he was in the band that Mike McCartney was in called The Scaffold. And luckily Roger, being a poet and good with words and being a Scouser, he contributed lots of great lines to the film. If you remember the School of Wales joke, and I don't know if you do. Paul Angelis introduced George Dunning to Roger when he read the first script, and Roger kind of knew it needed improving. But however, Roger was uncredited in the movie because his name doesn't appear in the credits, but he was paid. And I think that's been told a few times. He was paid quite a bit, to be honest. So the whole movie cost about £250,000 to make, and it took 200 people odd to make it. including London art students who worked on lots of early shifts and early weird shifts just to get it done in time. And the movie has lots of modern references to pop art and surrealism and optical illusions, comic art, lots of things like that. And generally gave some excellent caricatures of the bands themselves, which you can buy now, because if you go to shops, you can often buy Yellow Submarine memorabilia. Very famous stuff. And I like Captain Fred. And, of course, the Blue Meanies, they were great too. So famously, the producers didn't kind of understand that the movie needed sort of Liverpudlian actors. And they were going to go down the route of using American actors, but the actors themselves flatly refused to help, and persistence kind of paid off. But it wasn't publicly announced that the actors had done voiceovers. Most people assumed the Beatles had done it. And in the end, the producers of the movie finally relented and put the names on the credits. So it took 15 months, lots of work, and the premiere was July, back to July again, Mark, of 1968. And it got great acclaim. It's still a classic. And credit is due to Roger McGuff for rewriting all those lines in the movie, and the voiceover artist who delivered some really key great performances. So I'll very quickly mention the three actors who I should deserve a mention, and one of them isn't an actor, so you'll figure that out in a sec. First one was Paul Angelis, who was brought up in Woodruff Street in Dingle, not far from Ringo's home. So the accent was clearly going to happen. He played the voice of Ringo, the Chief Blue Meanie, and the narrator. Remember that narrator's voice in it? It's very eerie, isn't it? Later in the production, he had to voice George Harrison because the other actor and the other voiceover actor, Peter Batten, had to leave the movie abruptly. ... So Paul Angelis is famous for other roles, as well as his brother Mike Angelis. And Mike Angelis took over the Thomas the Tank Engine voiceovers when Ringo quit. Just a fact. The other guy involved who played Paul in the movie was Geoffrey Hughes. Jeff Hughes lived in a place called Norris Green in Liverpool 11, but originally he was born in Wallasey in 1944, and he moved out to North Liverpool as a boy. So he was actually in a band himself at the time Merseybeat was up and coming. He was in a band called the Moon Rockers around the late 50s, and he had a job actually in a car dealer's next door to the Merseybeat premises run by Bill Harry. So Jeff got the acting bug in the early 60s, and he played in local theatres and eventually ended up in the West End in London. And Paul actually saw him in a play at one time. Just coincidentally, Jeff played the voice of Paul in the movie. He later went on to become a very famous comedy actor, as you may remember. Can we think of it?
He played in I can't remember what's the name of the programme now.
I know the one you mean, yeah.
Yes, the one.
Yeah. Ever Peculiar Circles. No, it was...
No, I know who he was.
Yeah.
He's also in Coronation Street as well.
Yeah.
He's in Coronation Street quite a long time, actually, quite a few years.
And, lovely guy, and a good comedy actor. He was in the royal family too, so let's not forget how great he was in that. The other actor who played the voice of George Harrison in the movie, like I said, wasn't an actor. He had a very strange background. His name is Rodney Peter Batten, born in Liverpool in 1942, and strangely, he was, and if my research is right, he went to Dovedale Road School, where John and George went as kids, as well as Ivan Vaughan. He seems to have been in the same class as Ivan Vaughan, so he may have seen George or Paul as a child, but he left halfway through that, and he went to go off and live in a place called Wallasey. Mark knows that well. And by all accounts, he was an accidental actor, because as film folklore reveals, he was found in a pub in London being quite loud and scouse, and he was noticed by one of the movie producers using the voice he had, and he came over and convinced him to take part in the film. But the truth about him was that he was actually a lance corporal from the army, and he deserted. But nevertheless, he was hired. He was paid £50 a day, happily went along with it, and he was doing all right. He wasn't doing too badly, and he was getting on famously with a lot of the people in the company, and he started flirting with the editors and so forth. But it all came to an abrupt end when the military police found him and took him away.
Ah, that spoilt it for him, didn't it?
So that left the movie with a lot of George stuff still to do. So luckily, Peter Angelis, being a very good actor and a scouser to boot, he filled in. And can you tell the difference? I couldn't tell the difference.
Well, I'd have to have a listen again and see.
Yeah, but he's there, Peter Batten anyway. So, and what became of him after that? Nobody knows, because nothing or little or nothing's been heard of him since, and he's never really cashed in on his fleeting fame. So that was him, and they were those, and that was all about the Yellow Submarine movie, 1968, by Apple Films, and that's it, Mark.
Cheers, my dears.
Oh.
Marvellous. Col have another another Beatles feature
God
just to
bless
tick. Oh, this cocoa's very strong, isn't it? First, though, we're going to try out a new segment to this podcast thing, whatever you call it. This is a feature called The Random Mutterings of Chairman Col. That's what he's called it, anyway. So in each show, I'll give Col a chance. Well, not much of a chance, really.
No, I've never had much of a chance, really, have I? Let's be honest.
Right, to read out an item or two from his Beatleplaces book,
Okay.
which we plug every now and then.
Here's the book.
That's
There
the
it
book.
is. Yeah, it's not a brick.
So I'll select a page at random, or tell Col when to stop flicking through it. So he's going to flick through his weighty tome, flick through the pages, and when I say stop, he reads out a portion of the book. So it may be worthwhile or just a waste of time, we don't know. But are you ready? Flex for your muscles.
Yes, I am.
Drum roll.
Does it help to wear these leotards?
Here we go. Right.
Flicking. Stop.
No, I haven't said stop yet.
Oh, flicking.
Keep flicking. Stop.
Oh, I'm
Right.
in the middle of stuff.
Oh,
Can we
well,
flick
go
a bit?
back a bit then, that's it. Stop there. That'll
Great.
do. Right.
Okay.
Off you go.
Interesting, this one.
Ah.
Right. What does this mean to you? Nothing or something.
Go on.
Captain Robert Woods,
Never heard of him.
47, Northwest Herculaneum Dock, Dingle, Liverpool 3.
Ah.
What's the Beatle connection
What
in
was
that?
his name again? Captain?
Captain Robert Woods.
Ah.
It's a nice story. You like this?
From the Dingle.
From the Dingle. But it's the Herculaneum Dock.
The Herculaneum Dock.
Now that's the dock side, isn't it?
It is.
Where the docks are.
Something to do with the Yellow Submarine? No.
No
Obviously
cigar
not.
with that one, I'm sorry, mister.
I give up then.
Okay, all right, well, let's get it said.
Go on.
Sometime in late 1953, after Paul had joined Liverpool Institute, he had a friend there called Michael Woods in his first year class, 3C. His father was a Captain Robert Woods, and he was the dock master of Herculaneum Dock.
Aye.
That's what they call a graving dock. And I think it's got nothing to do with food.
No, that's a
but,
gravy dock.
It's situated in a place called West Toxteth, not very far from where Ringo's neighbourhood is. And right up until the late 1960s, it was a very active dock. So I think what happens is boats and ships came in, they were unloaded or treated and sent on the way.
Repaired and stuff, and off they went again.
Okay, so Paul has often recalled that as a young lad, he spent the night down at Herculaneum Dock. And that's because his schoolmate actually lived there, this Michael lad. So Paul has mentioned on several occasions since that he was learning Spanish at school from his teacher called Mr. Pegleg Killingly at the time. And so when a Spanish boat docked in Herculaneum Dock that night, and he turned up with his mate Mike, and always on the lookout to improve himself, he talked to the crew on board, tried to speak their language, and he used the phrase, here we go with me and my phrases, non rapidamente, which isn't really Spanish. It's not Spanish at all, almost, but it means not quickly, and it's to do with because he was not talking. He was asking people to talk slower when they
so
were
he could
talking
understand
to him.
them. Yeah.
So he used the phrase non rapidamente. Okay, maybe he still uses it. I don't know. So while he stayed over that night, he also recalled seeing a Spanish crew member getting a haircut. I talk about
Why not?
memories.
Yeah.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I found that out, and I thought you'd like it.
Oh, very good.
Random Jotterings Part 1.
Absolutely. Well, that was rather good.
So cheers, Mark. Thanks for your compliments.
That's all right. Play us backwards, and it still doesn't make any sense. Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Okie dokie, and other chirpy phrases. My piece of paper now says it's time to catch up with Mark again because he's back from the tanning salon and he's dressed, half dressed, to give us back the answers we were craving for the fiendish Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz here on Beatleplaces with Mark and Col. God bless you, Governor.
Thank you.
Here, Mark.
Right.
I'm all ears, but I'm mostly nose. Carry on.
Right. The questions were, number 1, Paul bought a horse for his dad's 62nd birthday on July the 7th, 1964. He paid £1,200 for it. Any idea of the name of the Gigi that he bought?
I do know. Yeah.
You do know?
Yeah.
Right.
Drake's Drum.
Correct. Well done. It came second in its first race as well.
Oh, right.
Where it came after that, I don't know. But it came second in its first
Probably
race.
kept on going.
So,
Never came back.
and apparently he showed a photograph of the horse to his dad. And he said, Dad, I've got you this. He said, what do I want with a photograph of a horse? So, he said, no, you silly person.
Yes.
It's the horse I bought you, so there you go. That was it. So Drake's Drum is the name of the
right.
horse. Question number 2 was, and still is, who took the photo of the Beatles on the Abbey Road album cover, where they're walking across the zebra crossing?
That's the famous 6 pictures, isn't it? So, Ian somebody.
It is Ian, yeah.
Mac somebody. Ian Mac somebody.
Very nearly.
McTavish.
Ian, no. Macmillan. Is Ian Macmillan.
Ian
his name
Macmillan.
was.
Okay,
That's
sorry
the name
about
of the
that.
photographer. How much he got for doing that photograph, I do not know. But,
Well, a lot of work.
It's
Got a lot of work
done him
out of
very good. Must have been a few nights out after that.
Yeah, wow.
Right. Finally, question number 3 was, what was the date of the last performance the Beatles played at the Cavern? Have you any idea?
Got me there. I could tell you what guitar George played. It wasn't his regular one. Was it 62? 62, and it was at June.
No. Completely wrong.
Great.
You're a year out. It was August the 3rd, 1963.
Oh, as late as that.
It was. They played there almost 300 times. And the first time they played, which is in 1961, quite a significant date, really, it was February the 9th, which is my birthday. So the first time they played... It is. It is for me, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So August the 3rd, 1963 was the last time they played the Cavern.
I knew it. I knew it got that slightly wrong.
And the first time was February the 9th, 1961. So 300 times they played there.
Well, the thing I'm familiar with was Brian Epstein would never hike their fees, even when they were super famous, because he'd committed to these little gigs. Yeah. And even the Cavern was probably only going to pay him a couple £100 for them compared to thousands they could have earned elsewhere. But yeah, historically I clean forgot. So thanks, Mark.
There you go.
There we are with the answers to the Beatleplaces Trivia Quiz. The Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Is there no beginning to their talent?
Our second feature in this podcast is quite an interesting one. It revealing the facts, even, behind the rumour that Paul is dead. The Paul is dead myth.
Yeah, well, the facts are there to be seen, and the facts are there as well. Paul is dead. It's a myth. It was to do with the McCartney moped accident. So let's go back. Paul was staying Christmas time, 1965, he was staying with his dad and his horse and his brother at his new home in Heswell in the Wirral, a place called Rembrandt, which we go past quite a lot, don't we? We
do. We've been up and down there.
Yeah. So there he was living. For Christmas, he'd come home for Crimbo, and he had the company of a friend. He had invited up a new friend to come up and spend Christmas there. Boxing Day, I think he came up. A fella called Tara Brown. He came from London. Tara had driven up from London with his wife Nikki on Boxing Day, and he was arrived at the home that afternoon to stay a few days because Paul said, let's stay. So Tara's background was he was the heir to the Guinness drink family, and he was just a young thing, but he was very much a flamboyant type of chap. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail another time. But there he was popped up to see Paul because he's one of his brand new friends, super famous friend at that. And while Paul was home on a rare break, they took the opportunity, him and Paul, Tara and Paul, to go and visit some of Paul's relatives. And some of Paul's relatives are called the Robbins family, and they live in an area of the Wirral called Bebbington. So what happened was he was going to come up, Paul and Tara were going to visit his cousin Bet and family who just lived nearby. So they borrowed a couple of little mopeds and they decided to visit the relatives a couple of miles away, just 3 miles away, in a place called Mount Road, Bebbington. Look it up, folks. It's there. It really is there. I could even tell you he hired the mopeds from a place called Cameron's Cycle and Sons. In Neston in Cheshire. So I gather he didn't go to the shop in Tingaling and get them. I'm sure they were got for him, but that's another story. But he got them from Cameron's Cycles. And what's debatable is which way did he go to get to his cousin's house in Bebbington from Heswell. There's two possible routes there. From Heswell to Bebbington, they both go along the countryside. One is along a place called Brimstage Road and the other is along a place called Barnston Road. Both are quite straight as runs go, so it wouldn't have been too much of a struggle to find it on mopeds even at the speed they were going. So the thing is, the Barnston option offered them a pub on the way called the Fox and Hounds in Barnston. And I believe they stopped somewhere for a refresher, and that might have been the very place. And we've been there ourselves, haven't we?
Numerous times.
So the other route was pub free. Boo! So Paul says that when they were riding these mopeds, it was a nice moonlit night, and Paul was ahead of Tara in the road. So when if you've ever done this road, it's only like two big long sort of country lanes. Which you basically have to point and shoot the moped and you're practically in Bebbington before you know it. But they followed this route and for some reason, there was a nice clear night, moonlit and everything. By his own fault, Paul fell off his moped. He hit the curb, cut his lip, banged his head and even chipped a front tooth. So the poor fellow was in the right state. So he did make it home. He made it to the Robbins home in a place called Mount Road, Bebbington. And they leapt into action and they called, on Boxing Night and all, think about it, they called a local doctor who was a friend. And this was a fellow called Dr. James Jones, who lived in an area of the Wirral called Upton. And his nickname was Dr. Pip Jones. Quite kind of a character fella, really. I've read a bit about him since, but he was a local general practitioner who ran a practice in Upton in the Wirral. And I think for all intents and purposes, he looked after Paul's uncle, Uncle Albert, and his wife Millie. So they knew him that way, and the family knew the doctor from that. So they called this fella up, and he came around, and he tended to Paul in the Robbins home. He didn't go to a hospital or anything. So there is a picture of Paul on the internet where you can see him quite badly cut up and bruised from the event anyway. So the doctor came along. The back history of Dr. Pip was he'd been a doctor on a ship on the Queen Elizabeth. He also had something to do with Liverpool University. He was a bit of a local character and a renowned after-dinner speaker. So he may have often talked about this little incident to people when he'd done dinners and stuff like that. Anyway, getting back to the story. On that night, without anaesthetic, he stitched up Paul's head and his lip. And considering how famous he was, he didn't want to kind of spoil his looks. But, you know, these things had to be done. Paul got his tooth fixed a lot later than that, because if ever you get a chance to see the Paperback Writer video, you can see him with his broken tooth in the video. For some reason, he didn't care, and it's apparent in the video. What he did do is he was very conscious of the scar he had on his lip, and he, as a result, he grew a moustache or a muzzy to cover it up, and he looked a bit like Sancho Panza when it was all quite good and finished, and his bandmates liked it, and as far as I could tell, he set off a trend, as did a few others who kind of started to grow moustaches, man.
Yeah, I've grown a moustache as well.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm thinking about it. So, like I say, you'll see pictures of Paul with his bruised face online, but also you'll see this broken tooth version of Paul in the Paperback Writer video. But it all stemmed from him falling off his moped like an idiot, Boxing Night, 1965. And he did make it back, and after that, people thought he'd been killed, but he was not killed. He just had a nasty fall. And, of course, all the interpretations of this came via the Sgt. Pepper sleeve. And as, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it is quite a lot of grade A codswallop. Here endeth the sermon.
Also on the Abbey Road album where he didn't have shoes on. That was another thing where they said he was dead, wasn't it?
Well, it's anything to stoke the fire of speculation, isn't it? And,
somebody starts a rumour, off it goes.
Well, there you go. That's my stuff. Paul is dead. Codswallop.
Right.
Because he's 80 now, and he's proven he's around. So,
yes,
yeah. Well, rumours of my death have been misconceived.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Right, so thanks, Col. That's,
okay.
It's not true what they say. I'll shred that portion. Right. As soon as we're done here, right, here we go. Are we ready now?
I think we are. The script's run out, mate.
Yeah.
So there it was. We're done. We're dusted. And we hope you enjoyed it. What there was of it. We talked a bit today, didn't we? So thanks very much for listening in. Hope you appreciated it.
That's it for another go at this podcasting lark thing. Hope we passed the audition, as John said. If you like it, get in touch and we'll try and do another one. If you don't get in touch, we're going to do it anyway. So
now it's time to toodle our pips, and we'll come back soon enough with yet another edition of the Beatleplaces Podcast for your wonderment and delectation, with all the usual features. And next time we'll have
the Lexicon of Liverpool. Now, what on earth is that? Ooh.
And I'll be talking about the Beatles schools and the school teachers.
So, in the meantime, remember, we don't take ourselves too seriously, and I hope you don't either. You're not.
No. So that's enough of me.
And that's enough of him. Ta for now.
Cue the banjo.
1, 2, 3.
Thanks for listening to the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. We hope to see you again real soon, and don't forget to visit the gift shop on the way out.